results. I think these might be in press releases that will be distributed momentarily. It says 61% are in favor of a treaty that peaks global emissions by 2015, which would be soon enough to prevent catastrophic climate change. A majority of Americans want the treaty to be legally binding. Then there's a question of whether people trust their leaders to cut emissions if there's not a legally binding treaty. 6% said they trust their leaders to do it a lot. 6 say a lot. 20% say some. And then you've got 71% say they trust their leaders a little or not at all without a legally binding treaty. So that sounds to me like a pretty strong call for a legally binding treaty. And then there's one more question that says, do the oil and coal industries have too much influence on U.S. climate policy? 11% said they have too little influence. And 64% said they have too much influence. I guess that concludes tonight's breaking news interlude in the Fossil of the Day ceremony. That probably has nothing to do with who wins the first place fossil tonight, but it's an interesting fact. Now we move to the first place fossils. We've got, of course, Canada and the Ukraine in the lead. A number of states have been vying for this spot. No fossils this year for the United States. We hope that that trend continues. But I guess it's time for the countdown to the final envelope. If you could join me in counting down from 4, but slowly. 4, 3, 2, 1, and the winner is Soft Horror. It's the United States of America. Its first fossil award here in Copenhagen. The United States wins its first fossil for 2 reasons. We are joined now here on the fossil stage by the Deputy Mayor of Santa Monica and Mayor Pro Tem Pamela O'Connor. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for her joining us tonight. She is, of course, not representing the lack of ambition from the United States, but rather receiving, perhaps in hopes of changing the situation. The United States wins tonight's first place fossil, for 2 things. First, for failing to make any commitment on long-term financing to fight climate change in the developing world. And second, because the U.S., which is far and away the biggest cumulative emitter of greenhouse gases in world history, the United States has among the weakest emissions targets of any major developed country. The U.S. targets amount to a 4% cut from 1990 levels. This while around the world the calls are rising for rich countries to take on targets of minus 40% from 1990 levels. If you added a 0, and by which I don't mean literally adding 0, which wouldn't change the sum, but rather, anyway, that might be better. The question remains, do U.S. negotiators represent the U.S. fossil fuel lobby, or do they represent the United States people's call for the U.S. to join the community of nations, rich and poor alike, in a global, binding, strong treaty strong enough to confront catastrophic climate change? Will it be Copenhagen or Brokenhagen? The United States, all eyes are on you tonight.
Okay. Hello, hello. I want to see, how many are Americans?
We have some Americans in the crowd tonight.
What do you think we all should be doing?
Cutting carbon!
Cutting carbon. I'm here with other Americans, besides these folks, with folks, council members, mayors from local governments, and the folks in our towns and cities, the people of the United States of America. They're saying, make the treaty. They're saying, reduce emissions. They're saying the things we're doing in cities and towns across the country are making a difference. And it's time for us and our federal government to step up to the plate. We're behind them. We want it done. We want success here. So I'm sorry you have to accept this today. But in the spirit that the people of the United States of America, the peoples in the towns, the cities, across the country want something done, we're here to make that change. We want that change. We want to dump this because we want a great treaty on Friday.